get out, and the time was now.
Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Sitting Down with Stand-Ups. I am your co-host, Justin Sakarica. As always, we have the Bean behind the scene, Daryl Bean, doing all the technical whirly-do stuff. And over to my left is my co-host, the very lovely Elena Gonzalez. Elena, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. You and I actually had a few shows together this past week.
We did, and thanks to you, I am continuing my birthday sugar high. I've decided that that's how I'm celebrating my birthday week. It's just been, we've got some cannoli and some birthday, what were those called?
They're like a birthday blondie brownie, a BBB.
BBB, the triple B. Yeah, so it's been sugar and shows.
Sugar and shows.
That's been my birthday week.
That should be a tour that you do. The Sugar and Shows tour. That would be a great name for a tour.
Yeah, we spent the weekend together at a brewery, and then we got our bowl on.
Yes, both very, very fun shows. I had a great time at both. Actually, it was our first time both doing the bowling alley show that Jason and Robin Gillerin run, so it's a great show. You definitely ought to check that out.
In Royal Oak, Bolero. It's fun because I'd never been in there before, and it felt like we stepped into 1974.
Yes, yes.
And it was fantastic. Like, there's shag carpeting on the walls, and it looked... I didn't actually go out on the lanes, but it looked like they didn't have automatic scoring. Like
it was all the old
oranges, browns, and yeah, it was fun.
Yes, that is the best way of putting it back into the 1970s in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. So you cannot beat a good, fun, old school bowling alley. Again, it was a great time. So Jason and Robin, if you are watching this, thank you so much for having me on your show. It was a blast. Speaking of blasts, I potentially could have had my face blasted off, maybe. So,
king of the segues.
Yes.
That's what that is.
If you have watched this show, if you're one of our mighty 9 subscribers, then you know that I always have weird shit happen to me. And I always have to get my runs in on Tuesday and Thursdays and Sundays. And this past Tuesday, I was once again in North Jackson, Ohio for work, but I still got my run in before making the journey home. And I was running down this country road because Ohio, for some reason, doesn't seem to have fucking shoulders on the road. Mm-hmm. You need those because people have to sometimes walk down the road. So I found this old country road to go run down. Everything was normal until off in the woods, I heard a very angelic voice.
Okay.
Singing, "I Can't Help Falling in Love with You." And this woman had a beautiful voice, and I was like, wow, should I, like, go find where she's at? And, like was she singing to me? Like, or was she some sort of, like, a hillbilly siren trying to, like...
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, trying to, like, lure me to my death, and, like... But her voice was magical, and I'm like, maybe this is the one for me. Like, maybe this is my true love. And I'm like, wait a minute. You don't know where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
You're in a different state in the boonies. And I think clear heads prevailed, but what if that was my soulmate? And I just was like, no.
There's no way. There's absolutely none of those potential scenarios end in a positive way. It's just varying degrees of negative outcomes. Because on the one hand, you go and you just become this weird slave and you never leave. Like, she's in every situation, she's the front to the creepy hills. What is it? The hills don't have eyes. The hills
have eyes. Yeah.
Have eyes.
Any old school creepy hick horror movie. Yes.
Yeah. They were gonna steal your kidney or kill you or something.
Yes. Yeah. It was so weird because it was at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I was leaving early so I could get back home and vote. I was like, I'm gonna get my run in, and then just this beautiful voice was ringing out, and I'm like, okay, like.
And you're the perfect victim there because that story almost tells itself, like a young man who is fitness minded and getting ready to go home and do his democratic duty, and they lured you.
They lured me in, yeah. And you know what? I bet because like when you're in Ohio, by the way, anytime you tell somebody that you're from Michigan, they always say, huh, not my problem. Everybody, literally. And I'm like, nah, well, you know, yeah, maybe I'm not your problem. I'm also not your dentist because you need one. So, yeah, sorry.
Not my problem. Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. So, it's very strange, but
I'm glad that you made it out in one piece.
I am too. As far,
glad.
yeah, like you guys said earlier, there could have been somebody here wearing my skin,
Right.
yeah, in place of me, or we could have had another co-host because I was missing somewhere in Ohio. I
hope that day doesn't come in the sense that you get kidnapped and raped and murdered, but I do think it would be hilarious if just every single episode there's just yet another host change.
Yes, yeah, just trying to find, yeah, like every single time, yes.
Like, oh, Steve moved away. Oh, Paul's too busy. Oh, Justin is trapped in Ohio.
If that happens, I will get a milk carton with my face on it and be like, bam, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. So
That's perfect.
Perfect. Well, wow, for once I don't have a stupid pun segue to bring on our guest.
No, but we can go on the whole sugar birthday show train because this person also had a birthday this week and has been sugaring it up with me.
Absolutely, yes. Our guest, like Elena said, has also had a birthday this past week. He's also been on fire lately. I mean, this guy has really been putting in the work. He's been working with some really big names. You could say his act is sweet as sugar. There's my stupid... There it is! See, there's my stupid pun.
There you go.
And that's why we only have 9 subscribers right there. Probably going to drop to 8 right now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest for the day, Ryan Brown. Ryan, get in here, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course, man. What is going on, man? What is going on?
Man, nothing much, man. Just trying to get booked, trying to stay busy.
Well, you are staying busy, man. Like, every time I check, you're always doing some new show or you're always working with some big names out there, man. Like, what do you attribute that hardworking attitude to?
Editing.
Editing?
That's what I found in comedy. That's the most important thing. You got to record your set, at least audio, and then listen honestly. If they don't laugh, cut it or change it, and you know.
For you to start with editing and then go into you got to record your set. I honestly thought you were like, and then you just cut together your best jokes.
Yeah.
And that's how you get your tape. You just edit it. You're like, okay, this was a good joke that I had on Tuesday. This was a good joke that I had 3 Fridays ago.
Yeah.
And
well, no, because what I hear from bookers all the time is they don't want like highlight tapes.
Absolutely
It's got to
not.
be,
Yes.
5 or 7 continuous minutes. So, if you got 5 or 7 good minutes, you send that out to new people. But a lot of the stuff, it's just local. I go everywhere. I've been literally every part of Michigan I've been to this year. I've been up to Traverse City. I've been to Grand Rapids and all of that, all the way to St. Clair Shores, everything. I've been to Memphis, Michigan, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I was
Memphis,
terrified,
Michigan.
and it was...
I've been there before, too.
Yeah, and it reminded me of what I would imagine Memphis, Tennessee looks like.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah,
That's
so-
Robert Schneider and Nick Pizzuti's show.
Yep.
What was it? The Memphis Pub.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I literally, all I had to do for that show is wear a trucker hat and they loved me. Like, literally, like, I had a great set because I'm like, I'm going to blend in. I went and sat at the bar and like, I'm going to buy you a shot. I'm like, sweet, you love me.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's, the fact that you could say that you've been going all over Michigan, man, like, that is a really good thing to do because you're keeping yourself busy, you know? And a lot of the most successful comics, in my opinion, are some of those who work the hardest.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've got to put the work in, and you are doing that, man. So kudos to you on that. And,
thanks, man.
You also recently worked with Darren McCarty, didn't you?
Yep. And what was that? Richmond, at Strikers Bowling Alley or Complex or something. Richmond, Michigan. Yeah, that was a good show, man. It was interesting, like, 'cause. And McCarty, he comes, like, he tells a bunch of stories, and it's, it's funny, and it's fans, and it's, like, he's giving insights into, like, big Detroit sports history stuff, and, the fans loved it. He probably could have sold, I think they sold, like, 150 tickets. If there was more room, I'm sure they could have sold more tickets. But, yeah, and it's such a secluded place. Like, if you don't know what's there, you're not gonna just run into this bowling alley. But yeah, we had a good time. We had
Are you a hockey guy at all?
I do. I like hockey more than baseball. I don't watch them. Yeah, I don't watch them much at all. But I don't watch much sports anymore. Like I follow it. Like I'll follow like the stats and stuff and try to go to a game every now and then.
What's your sport?
My sport is football. Yeah, it's always gonna be football. But baseball is too slow. Like hockey, at least there's action and stuff like that. Like. So, yeah, I like hockey. And I watch it in the playoffs.
Oh, playoff hockey is unbeatable.
Yeah.
It is unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to be a huge fan of hockey, but then they had that lockout where there wasn't a season anymore, and there's not as much fighting, and I'm like, this isn't good old-timey hockey anymore. So I'm like, you know what?
People aren't losing teeth.
Yes, exactly. Like, that was exciting, man.
Boring.
Like,
have goalies fighting and
oh
stuff
my
like
God,
that.
yeah. I recently went and rewatched the Fight Night at the Joe, where the Colorado Avalanche and Wings had that big brawl.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that makes you so proud. Yeah.
Late 90s, yeah.
It makes you so proud to be a Detroiter. Right. When you watch your city's team beat the crap out of another team, it was amazing. And it was so poetic because, with Darren McCarty was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Not only did he get revenge on Claude Lemieux for what he did to Chris Draper, he ended up scoring the game-winning goal in overtime. So that was like the biggest fuck you to the Avalanche.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like that was like one of like the big things he like talked about, and like he had like the picture, like the frame picture of him like punching, and he was signing those and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a fun time, man. I know he does stuff all around here. Yeah. Like that's how I taught you.
Right.
Yeah.
Get it, baby.
Yeah. If he's down, keep hitting him.
No, that's my Darren.
They make those skates sharp for a reason.
Right. Right.
Oh man, that's amazing. And you also too, I believe it was just a few days ago, you got to work with Josh Adams, who got to roast the Detroit Lions, and that had to be a good experience, man.
Yeah. That was this past yesterday, Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, 4 shows in Waterford at One Night Stands. It was great, man. Great shows. Josh, I call him the Detroit King of Comedy. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's ever said that, but it's fun. Like, it's amazing to watch him do 4 shows, and it's 4 different shows. And it's like, everybody has jokes, and, you kind of like weave jokes in, but no matter what the energy of the crowd is, it's like Josh finds the theme of the night or whatever, and he'll just hit it. Even when we had 2 shows in one night, it was still 2 different shows that night. And it's like, just watching it's like, okay, that's what you want to strive to be like as a comic, man.
Yeah, anybody who's watching this, if you are not familiar with Josh Adams, do yourself a favor and find him before you're not going to be able to afford him.
That is a great way of putting it. Yes. I mean that's one thing that I love about the scene is like getting to hang out with and like talk to all these comedians who are so close to just getting to that next level. And it's like it's really cool to to say that we've known some people who have gone to the next level, who are so close to getting there. And so speaking of getting to the next level, like again, you're already working so hard, but like what are some of your comedy goals for next year?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess the goal would be to get booked more, like outside of the state and stuff like that. Cause there's only so much you can do. Like I've done like the comedy classes and I've done like festivals and stuff like that. And the main thing, when you talk to people that are like book clubs especially, or even like even your rooms and stuff, there's only so many weeks in a year. There's only so many shows. Every club has like their regular headliners. A lot of headliners might bring a feature. So if there's hosts, it's usually local people. So it's really hard to get in a club if you're not in the area. So just cold sending a clip, it's like, oh, hey, I'm funny, and then it's like, well, your funny might not match, their demographic or whatever. So it's that's the thing I learned. Like, you can't take it too seriously. You can't take stuff personally. People don't book you or whatever, then, do your own thing. You can always start your own room. There's plenty of comedy everywhere, Now, if it's all good and stuff, who's to say? But, if you feel like you can't get booked, then either, one, you got to be critical of yourself and write better, write stronger, That's like, I've read a bunch of comedy books and stuff like that, and the one thing they all have in common is like, if you get undeniably funny, you're gonna get booked. That's it. So you can't some people like to play like, oh well, this person doesn't like me, so they don't book me. Like, look, if you were so funny that they know their people are gonna have a good time, they'll book you even if they hate you.
Exactly.
So
if you were putting asses in seats,
that's it is a business.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
Because I was going to say, like, when I book somebody, I usually pay attention to what the audience is doing and not that comedian. Like, I've got my own, like, I've got a very weird sense of humor. I have booked plenty of people on my shows who I don't think they're that funny, but the crowd loves them. Yep. They've always got a spot on my show because I know they are funny. Yep. I just have a very weird sense of humor. But anyway, sorry, I was interrupting.
I was gonna turn it a little bit left. So when we started, you attributed a lot of your work currently to being a good critical editor of your jokes and your writing. And I know that you are currently, or maybe it's been a little more sporadically, but you do a bit of a, I don't know what you call, maybe more of a workshop with other comics.
Oh, the feedback mic?
Yep, where you'll do a mic and then have kind of a group chat about, what do you think worked? What about this? Kind of people giving tags.
Yep.
And there's a lot of, there's kind of two schools of thought behind that. There are the comics who are, they treasure their material in like this is my baby and it's my joke and I'm not going to take somebody else's joke and I'm not, like, just very protective. And then there's other people who are much more collaborative and it's, yep, this is my idea, this is my joke, but oh, what he said was real funny, so I'm gonna add on to that. Where do you think, to kind of jump, I'm gonna guess that you fall more on the second one, but where do you think that came from in you to be like, no, it's a collaboration to an extent?
Well, I went to New York last year, and I did it again this year. But so New York, I mean, there's hundreds of mics. So like the first time I went, I did like 14 open mics in like 4 days, and the feedback one was the one I got the most from, and it was something that I didn't see here. So I was like, if I can find a space, I can do that here. If anybody wants to come, because it's like, you'll do a joke, and like you said, like that's how we feel about every joke. Everybody feels that way about a joke. Like, this is my baby. Now, whether they're open to it, but it's just like with people's real babies, it's like, oh, well, I'll let my parents watch them, but I wouldn't let a stranger watch. You know what I mean? So it's like, but this is like, the people that come to the feedback mic is people that watch a lot of comedy, that care about comedy, and it's not so much that, hey, they're gonna help you with a joke, but it's like sometimes they might just hear it a different way that you didn't think about, or it's like they say something and it sparks something in you, so you tell them, and it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that, and it's feedback. They can take it or not. You know, it's and they can try it. And it's certain people, like I was talking to Mike Green at One Night Stands, and he was saying like, if anybody ever gave me a tag or anything like that for a joke, he was like, I'll try it. And it was like, if it worked, because it's so many. There's only so many like trains of thought and stuff like that. So it's like, when you talk about like, and this is something Josh was saying the other day, it's like people talk about like joke theft and stuff like that. It's like, there's only, like, everybody's getting the same information. Like, everybody watches the presidency or the same shows or whatever. So it's not that hard to, if two people have the same idea. Like, that's why, and like I said, with all the books and stuff like that, it's like, they say, make it as personal as possible. Right. If you do that, then if somebody steals it, you would know. Exactly. But otherwise, it's like, Trump's face is orange. Like, that, nobody can steal that joke. My grandma makes that joke. Like, anybody can say that. So it's like, that's why I try to write jokes that's like, it's completely, from left field. Or I'll take the premise, or I'll take the position where you wouldn't think that I would take that position and then go into it from that way. So not gonna
I don't know how protective you are of your age. I never ask a woman their age. So I'm not gonna call you out, but I also know that you haven't been doing it that long. Do you think that is a benefit because you have all of this life experience that you can kind of pull from and look at to come up with those things, those personal.
Oh yeah, I think because there's a lot of people like when you watch when I watch like some of the younger comics, like you'll see them doing stuff like one day or 1 month, and then like they're kind of doing a new thing the next time you see them or something like that, and it's I know who I am. So like like I said, I'm 30. I just turned 36.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And I've been doing comedy since like 2019. So, but COVID kind of messed that up. So like 2.5, 3 years where I was like really doing it and writing and trying to go to mics and shows and stuff like that. So, so yes, it's good for like I already have experience and I'm like a confidence in myself. Like I know my opinion on this thing. So I'm not going to go out and say something just for the laugh. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I try to write it where it's like, this is how I feel, but I can make it funny for like people that might not agree or something like that. And then the other thing is because I feel like I started really late, I don't got time to like mess around.
Right.
So it's like I don't got time to be like, oh, I love this joke so much, but it's not working. If it's not working, then I'll at least put it to the side and then I can come back to it. But I can write something else that's like, okay, this works. How can I write it, in my voice or whatever? But yeah, I'm not gonna hold on to stuff or keep telling the same jokes that don't get laughs. It's like I got stuff to do. I got 3 jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In your opinion, like, because you were saying, like sometimes you try and tell a joke and it won't get laughs. Like, at what point do you finally say, okay, look, this joke's going into retirement, or it's gonna, or it's gonna go on the shelf until you can reword it or rework it to make it, an actual funny joke?
I mean, like 3 mics. Like if you do it at 3 like good mics, or if you can do it on 3 shows where it's like, okay, you work it, and if it's new, the thing I've heard people say and the thing I find best is like work it in with stuff that works. So you start with a couple jokes that work, so you got the crowd on your side, and then you put in something new or newer, and if that doesn't land, then okay, that's 1X. It's like a Family Feud or something. Once you get 3 X's, get it out of there, man.
That's how I know how much you hate baseball, because 3 strikes and you're out is right there, and you're like, it's just like Family Feud. I'm not even talking about baseball.
But I like Family Feud because it's like, like you get that audible, like if you playing that in your head, and we're comics, like every comic I know is the most critical person of themselves. So we are all very, we're all like that. And it's like, like we all crazy. Like, you got to be crazy to do this. But, if you have that in your mind, like, oh, you already going to kind of feel... Like, I've had shows where people say, oh, that was great. And I was like, oh, but I messed up right here. And I messed up right here. So it's stuff like that.
Or you're like, did you come to the early show?
Right. Yeah, like, which set did you hear? It's like, because I was listening to this between shows, and I was like, no, it didn't hit like you're saying it did.
Like, when you tell the punchline and you're just waiting for that wave of laughter and nothing comes, you're like, oh, boy. Yeah. And you think about that the ride home. Yeah. Like, the ride home from a rough night is always like, oh, my God. Like, and I think every comedian, and we've talked about it before as well, you always have that thought of, should I keep doing this? Yeah. Like, all the time. But then you have a good show, and you're like, I'm going to the fucking moon, baby. Vegas, here I come, Yep. Yeah. So what would you say, speaking of that, what would you say one of the roughest nights in comedy has been for you?
Oh, man. It was the beginning of this year, January. I featured at the Toledo Funny Bone with Michael Collier. Okay. And the first show... And it was like, I was a feature, but there was no host. So I was doing like 20 to 30 minutes. Like I had to just come up, open the show up, do my set, and then bring up Michael. And the first 10 minutes was great. And then it was like that. I tried to do a joke that was kind of working, but it definitely wasn't finished, and it definitely wasn't for that crowd. And I lost the crowd, and then I lost like my place, and I was just like, I tried to do a couple other jokes, but I was like fumbling through them, and then I was like, it was like pouring sweat and stuff like that. And then eventually I just brought Michael up, and he killed. And, you know, he kind of made fun of me, which I deserved it. He could have did worse, man, because he was like, but yeah, and luckily we had another show that night. And so the second show, I crushed it, man. And I had a really good set. And then he told me after the show, he was like, man, I'm glad you had a good show. He's like, because otherwise I would have had to get rid of you, man. And I don't know if he was joking or not. But, like, I've seen it happen, and I was like, so I was like, and I get it. I was like, because it was like 10 minutes or almost dead air. Like, I probably got a couple laughs in that second 10 minutes, but the second part, it was great, and then the rest of the shows that weekend. So it felt good. It was like, I did so good to recover from that first one, but it was like that. It was like, if I didn't have that second show that first night, it probably would have been over.
Yeah.
You know?
The coveted comedian redemption show. That's always a good thing. And again, I've talked about it at length on this show, so I won't say it again. But I know exactly what you mean when someone's like, "Hey, I may have to find somebody else to take on the road," and it's like, "Holy shit!" Like, "Oh my god, I didn't think it was that bad." But that's crazy to think though that like you were able to recover that quickly on the show after, because I know a lot of people may have been shook by that and been like, "Dude, I don't know if I can go back out there." And
it was wild because he didn't say it between sets, like he didn't say it between shows, but I knew it. I was like, I felt it. I was like, this, I gotta crush it. Like this, and then luckily I did, and then the rest of the shows were good. So, you know, it was a good weekend, but that was easily my biggest, I want to quit comedy, but
it's crazy, man. That feeling, like, you know, again, like, and just that wave of, you don't know what it's like until you've gotten up there and you've had a bad night, especially after having a string of good shows.
Yeah,
that is it is not a good feeling, and but you know, we, like I said, we have our redemption arcs, and we get in there and we redeem ourselves. Now, you had said that was at the Toledo Funny Bone. Right. Now, do you think you would have felt any different if that was at a show back home here? Like, do you think it would have been worse, maybe?
I don't know if it would have been worse. I just think it was a teachable moment, though. It was like, don't mess around, especially the first show with somebody you never worked with before at a place you've never worked at before. And, you know, do your best stuff. Bring your best, you know, sit your best foot forward. This is not the time to be testing jokes and stuff like that. But but I also, like, that was like the thing where it's like, I know I love comedy because a lot of stuff, if it gets difficult, I'll just be like, all right, this not for me. But it's been plenty of things. Like, I changed my major plenty of times in college because I was like, oh, no, this ain't me. But comedy is like, you know, you can have a night like that, or, you know, other nights that's not as big of a stage, but every bomb feels bad. You know, there's magnitudes, but none of them feel good. None of them like, oh, well, it's just an open mic. Like, no, sometimes that's the worst. It's like, I got to see these people again next week.
And there could be people there that you're like, oh my god, like, are they gonna book me now? And that thought goes through your head. You're like, oh my god, like, there's bookers here. Like, but I think a lot of bookers know, like, hey, it's an open mic. You know, they're not out here, you know, putting forth their material that they get paid to do. You know. But,
So how did you, what flipped you into comedy in the first place?
Depression, mostly. Like, I never really read books. Like, I got through school on, like, critical thinking and stuff like that. So, like, if I had to read a book for class, I would read enough to do well. And then
fill in the blank.
But like, I've never been a fan of, like, I'm not a fan of fiction. So none of it worked. But I read the Comedy Bible. That was the first one. And then that's how I learned about comedy clubs. Like, I grew up 3 miles from Ridley's. Never knew about it.
Really?
Yeah, never knew about it. I grew up right at 8 Mile in Woodward.
Okay.
Never, and I don't go to Royal Oak much. I don't go to bars, so I never, like, just rant, like, and New Way is even closer.
Right.
never had been. I don't go to bars much, so I never like run into like, oh, we're having an open mic. You know, here's comedy. I used to go to comedy shows all the time, but it would be like the big ones at the Fox or like at Little Caesar Arena or something like that, or you know, back when they had them at the Palace. But I didn't realize it was like, oh yeah, you do comedy at these little spots and you work your way up type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, these people are funny, or you got to be in New York or something to do this, and then you can go to Detroit or you know, Atlanta or whatever. But yeah, I didn't realize every place has a comedy club. You know, there's Facebook groups where you can find people and do open mics and all of that stuff. But
so what flipped that switch for you?
Which one?
Like, so you didn't know that all of these things existed, and then you read the Comedy Bible, and you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna look and see if this exists near me." Or...
So like the Comedy Bible is like, this is how you write a joke. This is like the structure of the joke, and this is something that I was talking to Josh about yesterday. But he was saying like there's a science to comedy, but then there's like a magic. So, like, it's like the science is like you write a joke, set up punchline, however you do it. But then the magic is like being able to just kind of like feed off the crowd and work stuff that maybe you've written into stuff that just happened. And because that's where you get the biggest laughs. That's why callbacks get the biggest laughs, because it feels like an inside joke. But, like, you know, and crowd work gets really big laughs if it's good. So, you know.
Yeah, because the audience then feels like I was here this day that this became a thing. And you know, that comic, if they're doing it well, could have 6 shows where they have said that exact punchline to a different woman every single time, but it still feels it feels it. And magic, I think, is a great way to is a great way to define it.
Yeah, I think a perfect example, and speaking of callbacks, we did a show with Mike Cronin as the headliner recently, and he did his bone snake bit. And he mentioned that a few times, and he had a great callback to it later on in his set, and it was hilarious because the crowd at that point felt like they were, you know, part of his life. So yeah, a good callback is always, you know, always a great thing to have.
So you mentioned you've got 3 jobs, and you're just you don't have time for this shit. And you're also a dad. Do your kids know you do comedy?
Yeah, they know, because they're 18 and 17 now. So
why did I think you had a kid, like a tiny?
I hope I don't.
Well, Ryan.
Well, we got
come on out.
Yeah, we got a surprise for you. Yeah.
Turn into Maury.
Yes, it's now the Maury show.
I'm gonna get up here and dance. And break
Daryl,
you are not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he the father? You've got the. Daryl has the results back there right now.
Oh, but yeah, no, but they, I mean, they see, because I post stuff, like I'll post little stuff online, and they follow, like my daughter follows me, so she's usually the first one to like some stuff, and it's like, even if it's bad about her, she'll still like it. So.
Have they come to see you live?
No, they haven't. I tried to get them a couple times, but they like, and I tried to get them to take like one of the classes and stuff.
Goals?
Yeah, I tried to get them to take Tim's class, but they were like, no, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, I talk trash all the time. Like, you know, it's like, you know, because then it's like humble. It's like, you know, get in it. Like, you know, so then you can see how hard it is. And because it's not easy. Like, and that's, you know, I'm sure y'all hear this all the time. But it's so many people that's like, oh, I could never do comedy because people hate public speaking. And that's kind of how I was, too. Like, I didn't really like public speaking. I think I got a D in speech in high school. I got an A in college, but that was just because I actually did it.
Yeah.
And I had a better teacher, so it was like we did more interactive stuff and things like that. But yeah, once you get over the fear, and that's the thing too, like when you read the Comedy Bible and stuff like that, it's like if you know the jokes work, you rely on the jokes, then you get more comfortable in the silence because you know, like, even if this joke doesn't work, this next one I got coming.
Yeah, you got a nice bag of ammo to pull from.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. So yeah, it's good, but it's
that is true. There are so many people that at least in my experience, I will have the people that'll say like, "Oh, that's so impressive! I could never do that. I could never do that." And then the other people that are like, "Man, I am so funny. I can,
Yeah.
I can." It's like, okay, well, just do it.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
Yep.
I could tell you 27 places right now that they
Yes.
will hand you a microphone,
Yep.
and you can, well,
Yeah, and then
well,
yeah. Well, I'm only gonna do it if I'm getting paid $200. And there's a I know.
well.
I know people like that. I actually had a great experience. One of my ex-girlfriend's roommates, crackhead drunken boyfriend, kept telling me,
That is a title.
This guy, yeah.
My ex-girlfriend's drunken roommate's crack-headed.
yes, this guy was something else. That he kept telling me about how funny I could easily get up there and do comedy. So finally one night at Laugh Tracks, rest in peace, it was during a blizzard. We were going to have a comedy show there, and I think it was David Van Otis. Is that who used to run that, I think?
That name sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
He was like, well, if we don't get one more comedian here, we're not going to be able to have a show. That guy was there, and I'm like, guess what, buddy? You're going on
Been called
stage,
up,
and
called up to the big league.
Let
there
me
you
tell
go. There's
you-
a baseball reference.
there we go. Man, you're going to be disappointed when you find out that we got your Tigers tickets for your birthday.
No, I go to the games. I went to a Tigers game. I slept. I fell asleep.
Nice.
But yeah, my buddy got married in June, so we went. Tigers game was part of his little bachelor party.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
It was
the
cool.
live games are fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have smart friends.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
was
But
fun.
but yeah. Anyway, I got this guy on stage, and he bombed horribly. It was a huge disaster. And there used to be footage of it, and my friends and I would go back and rewatch it all the time. But unfortunately, it is now lost. But
On MySpace or whatever.
I don't, it's in the iCloud somewhere. But if there was anybody else at that show, again, I know it was David Van Otis was running it. I don't remember any other comedian who was there because that 15 minutes of him just drowning.
He was on for 15 minutes.
David let him keep going because of how bad it was. I mean, and he
that's great.
it was amazing. I mean, my friends and I still talk about it to this day.
That's so
Wow.
I mean, it was one of those things like, you know how there are movies that are so good? I'm sorry, so bad they're good?
Yeah,
This was like the Manos
Yeah.
Hands of Fate of, that's a really obscure reference there, but yeah, it was amazing, and it was very humbling for him, and I'm glad I got to put somebody like that on stage. Because
That's what I love about the. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I think it's more me. I'm not out at as many mics as I used to be, but it felt like there was always the guy who lost his fantasy football league, or lost a bet doing something, and the price was you had to go do an open mic set. So you'd have 10 people show up to Trixie's, and 9 of them are just to watch Chad get up on stage.
Yeah.
And it's like yeah. So then I'm fucking this girl, and she's like, oh, Chad, right? Cool.
Oh, and it's like sometimes you almost feel bad for him. You almost feel bad for him, and then you remember, no, they don't know what it's like, and then you're like, just keep burning, baby.
Yeah.
I could smell the flesh sizzling right now.
Yeah, because it's the only way. Like we said, once you get that microphone in your hand,
Everything changes. Everything changes. And speaking of changing, there's one of my great segues again. Speaking of changing, you've gone through some changes yourself recently.
Oh, that's smooth.
There is less of you here than last time I saw you. You have really got yourself into shape, man, and congrats on that.
Yeah,
and again,
thanks, man.
What kind of inspired you to start getting, getting in shape?
Cocaine.
Sweet, yes. Speaking of which, you see us right here?
Happy birthday.
There we go.
To you.
After the show, it's going down.
Happy
What did we call this place the last time? Like the Sin
It's,
Shack or something?
Yeah, it's funny. Because I think I did your show. It was like November, December, last year.
Yeah, it was you and Bill.
Me and Bill, yeah. And then since that, I've lost like 120 something pounds
Man,
or something.
congratulations, man.
Yeah,
Seriously.
man. And it's the funniest thing is I told a joke, and it's on my Instagram and all of that. I told this joke. I don't know if you guys know Ronnie Rohrbeck.
Yeah.
So Ronnie, he's like 5'5" or something. He's where is he from? Peru or something like that?
Yeah.
Colombia.
Colombian.
Something
Speaking
like
of
that.
cocaine, Colombia.
Yeah. But we were in the contest, the Detroit to LA contest, and Ronnie was up before me. He had a great set, but he had a joke where he was like, "I'm the only comic that gets taller when they sit on the stool," and so he got a good laugh out of that. And I come up after him, and the first thing out of my mouth was, "I get taller when I lay on my stomach." And the crowd goes crazy, man. And then I was just like, fuck y'all, man. Like, it's not that. But then, and I put that clip on Instagram, and it's like the most views I've ever gotten, and all of that or whatever. But in that clip, and I edited it out, I didn't put that part. I was like, man, this is like a wake-up call, man. I gotta do something. And from that day, I was like, all right, man, let me, because I lost a bunch of weight before, and then I tore my labrum and, stopped working out and all of that and gained all the weight back. But after that set, like, they laughed so hard, I was like, I gotta get my shit.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you got last, but I'm also glad that that you said, hey, you know what, like, I'm gonna start, getting in shape, because I'm also very fitness minded, and like it makes me happy to see people want to better themselves and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go and live a good life. So.
Yeah, man.
And now you've taken that ammo out of every roast joke.
But that's the thing, because it's like, relatively, I am in a lot better shape, but I'm still a big dude, I'm like, so it's when I went to New York this past time, which was like July, I think, this year or whatever, I did a heckle mic, but it wasn't like the shit show at Independent. This was just basically the crowd just roast you.
Yeah.
So I got up on, and it was all like fat jokes and all of that. Like I think I had something on, and they were like, "Is that a what did they ask me?" It's like, "Are you wearing a CPAP machine?" It was like stuff like that, and I was just like, "Oh, I was like, okay, at least y'all honest, because everybody, like people around here, they know me. It's like, oh shit, you 100 pounds lighter, you look great." But I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's like, it's relative.
Yes.
So it's like when I lost a bunch of weight, but I was still because I was almost 400 pounds.
Okay.
And when I was at 300 pounds, people were like, oh, like it's a lot of weight. Now I'm at like 240.
Right.
So it's like, now it's like I can really tell and stuff, but when I was at 300, people were like, oh, like I had family like calling me slim and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'm not. This is not slim. Like I'm still 300 pounds. Like I'm less, but this is not slim. Like this is Walmart slim, I guess. But this
Walmart
ain't.
slim.
Yeah, but this ain't.
That's how you can tell, or that's how you know what people how people really see you, and that's like toddlers and getting heckled. Yeah. Like the jokes. Yeah. The jokes and the kids. That's what you're.
And that's why I love comedy, because it's honest. It's the truth. Most of the time. And it's like you guys said, like with people that think they're funny or whatever. It's like they're funny around their friends because you got the inside jokes and all of that stuff.
Exactly.
And that's why callbacks are so effective, because it's like an inside joke with the crowd.
Yep.
So it's like, and then that's why like people that, even if they aren't funny, if they're famous, they can get laughs, or they can at least hold the attention of the crowd, because people want to be around famous people and stuff like that. Right. So it's like,
and it's like, oh, I remember when you did that thing.
Yep.
But it all comes back to your comment earlier about undeniable, because there are more than one occasion where you see that, and we see it a lot more with like Instagram stars and TikTok stars. They're getting that initial grace where they'll walk out on stage, people have that shared moment, like, I know you, I recognize you, I'm in, and you get them right away. And then if that first joke hits, then that buys you a little bit more time. But as soon as it doesn't hit, that time bomb is ticking, and you could have 10 billion followers, even though there's only 7 billion people in the world. You have 10 billion followers. But if you can't hold them past that first 2 minutes, it's gonna it's gonna end poorly. So
Yes.
Yep.
Another bad night at the Funny Bone.
Yep. Speaking of which, I got a show at the Funny Bone this Thursday. It's a contest thing, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
But,
congrats. I mean,
Nice.
hopefully they don't remember you from that.
yeah, well, I probably look completely different.
I was
than
going to
that.
say, yeah, that was
They
bad.
might
too.
not notice me.
it's
yeah.
your own
Yeah.
little witness protection.
Right. Yep.
Like, oh no, that was my brother Brian. That was that was Brian Brown.
Brian Brown.
Brian
Yes.
Brown. Yeah.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Hopefully, man. Hopefully. Because that's what happened. Like I said, I lost a bunch of weight before, like right before I started comedy. It was like almost the exact same. Like I was X amount down to Y amount, and I was doing comedy, which is not great for your health.
No.
Because you're out late.
Yeah.
You know,
Eating bar food.
Or Taco Bell after a set, and then it was like I was talking to somebody, and it was like, yeah, if I have a bad set, I'm a drown my sorrow in Taco Bell, and if I have a good set, I'm gonna celebrate with Taco Bell.
I've had that
Like,
exact conversation.
Yeah.
With only ice cream.
Yeah.
But yes.
Oh.
But yeah, so
Yes.
it's like, and then you out till 1, 2 in the morning, and that's always been my worst thing. Is like eating late, and then because if you eat late, then you're gonna have a bad night. And then you're going to have a bad morning, and then it's like the excuse to not work out and all of that. And if I don't work out in the morning, the day is shot. Like, it's probably not going to happen. So, it's just, but it's the same thing with comedy. It's like, you get out what you put in. So, when I started paying attention, and doing stuff with comedy, I got better at comedy really fast.
Yep.
When I was doing the same thing, like health-wise, like, okay, I'm not going to eat 5 Guys for lunch and then pizza for dinner or something like that, because that's what, and people ask me, like somebody asked me if I had surgery, and I was like, you think I would keep this fat and pay for it? I was like, that makes no sense, man. Like,
so you talk about routine, and in working out and in comedy. So what is your writing routine? Like what's the structure that you stick to in that sense?
I don't have, and my problem is, especially lately, I don't have a set like routine.
Okay.
Normally, something will happen, and I got a like 70-page Google Doc where it's just premises or like this thing happened, and then every now and then I kind of go through and I'll kind of is this funny? How can I make it funny? What did it make me think? And just kind of like flesh it out like that, and then go to open mics. It's like, oh, this thing happened, and then it sucks because if something else happens and that's getting a laugh, then I might not remember the old thing and stuff like that. And I still got to work on my regular set because I have shows and stuff. So if I'm getting paid somewhere, I want to have a really good show. So I want to do stuff that I know is going to work.
Tried and true.
But but then try to work in new stuff. So the main thing, like I said, the main thing is like, if you record it and you listen to it as quickly as possible, then it kind of like, you get the wording right and you realize like sometimes the way you write it is not the way you would say it or the way people can receive it and stuff like that. And it's, I try to mess with some things that I think are kind of complex, but then they also seem kind of obvious to me.
Right.
Like sometimes that's the beauty of comedy, is like trying to get something that's crazy that works. Because I got this joke where like the premise is how The Handmaid's Tale is a comedy, and it's like, it's hilarious to hear that because it's a show about slavery.
Right.
But it's like, it's like, but to me it's hilarious because it's white women's slavery. Like, but it's hard to like put the right words together to make that funny for people that either, one, a lot of people haven't even seen the show, and 2, it's too close to real slavery to be able to just talk about it without losing people.
Yeah, and we talked about this on the last episode, where there's a very fine line to toe between being insulting or being funny.
Yeah.
And you have to know that line to toe.
Yep.
It's kind of like South Park. is a great example.
Yeah.
South Park says a lot of crazy shit, but they do it in a way to where it's funny and not flat out insulting.
Right, and it works because it's a cartoon.
Oh, yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like that's how you kind of so it's already that look. We're playing around.
Yeah.
So they have that built in. Whereas if it's just a person talking, it's like, damn, do they really believe this?
Yeah,
It's
which
like,
you know, it's speaking of that, like, do they really believe it? Do you ever have somebody come up to you after a show and say, "Is that true?" That reaction.
we
right
talked
there.
about taboo stuff, and it's like this. No, it's not people in the show, but it's like family and stuff like that that'll be like, oh, you thought this and you think, and it's like, no, this is comedy.
That's a joke, yeah.
I was like, if I was in a movie and I kiss somebody, that's not me cheating on my girlfriend or whatever. Like this is not real life.
Right.
This is it's an act. It's like going to the movies or something.
Yeah.
It's not. Now some of it might be,
Embellished?
it might mirror like how I actually feel, or it might maybe
Based on a true story.
Yeah.
but and that's the thing, like that based on a true story. It's like when they say that, it's like, yeah, maybe this is like it's like 25% or something like that,
Exactly.
man.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
when I heard, man, I did not realize that. Like remember the Titans? Like it's so much. And I found out Bertier didn't get hurt until after the season was over. I was like, what the fuck, man? I was so mad, man.
Right.
I was so mad, man.
But yeah, that's, again, there are a lot of things that comedians embellish, or so full disclosure, I never dated a midget. Everybody asks me, they're like, so you dated a midget? I'm like, no, I did not date a midget. It's comedic effect, okay? I did not date a midget, and that means you can't have her number. We didn't actually role play the Wizard of Oz, okay? That's all a joke, okay?
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy how people will hear that and like, it's almost like they forget they're at a comedy show.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that just didn't really happen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's like I'd be in jail, or I'd be dead, or something like that. But it happens all the time, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, we take little grains of truth and we plant those, and they become, these big corn stalks of humor.
Hopefully.
What a horrible analogy that was. What a horrible analogy that was. Wow.
That's your autobiography, Corn Stalks of Humor.
Yes,
The Justin story.
How I survived getting my skin taken in Ohio by a cornfield of all things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes sense, yeah.
Oh man.
Tied it back in. Yeah.
Absolutely. One thing I want to ask you, who have you not worked with yet in the Detroit scene that you really want to work with? Like, who's on your bucket list of comedians that you want to share the stage with?
I don't know if there is.
I'm trying to think who I haven't
Right.
worked with. I guess like Mike did a guest set. Like Mike Green did a guest set at One Night Stand. So I don't know if you count that.
I would count that.
Yeah, like
he's on stage with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with Bill. I work with Josh. I work with Melanie. I work with T-Bar, Melanie, Jason, Kevin. It's a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
Because I've done like thing. I've done a lot of like I'm just a guy on the show, like a lot of showcase stuff with people and stuff. I can't think of anybody that I haven't worked with.
But again, that's a
from
testament.
Michigan.
That's a testament to how hard you're working.
And I've been, you know what? Robert Jenkins.
Robert Jenkins, if you're watching this, it's your guy.
Yeah, but I know like I don't know how much he does comedy regular, but I know like Max is coming back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've seen
he's still out.
Yeah.
I know he does it, but like I've seen him do comedy before, and I guess technically because there was a show when I first started doing comedy. There was a show that closed. There was like it had just ended. It was like right in Royal Oak, like 9 Mile and something. But they had like this one last show, and so they had everybody doing like 1 minute.
Sellerman's?
I think so. But it was like, and I don't, like I said, this was maybe 2018, 2019.
It sounds like Sellerman's.
Yeah.
And I think Robert was headlining at Ridley's that weekend. And so like, I got up and I did a minute or two or whatever. But I had a good set for that and being new. So yeah, I don't think you can count that. But I know I haven't worked with him, but a lot of other people I have. And like I said, I've been most of Grand Rapids, Traverse City, all around. I'm sure it might be somebody but yeah, I feel like I've worked with a lot of people.
Yeah, you genuinely have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not anybody where it's like, oh yeah, I know I haven't worked with them, but I'm good.
Fuck that
Like,
guy.
it's not anybody like that. It's not. I'm sure it might be somebody that I haven't worked with that I would love to, because I do comedy, and that's like we were talking about it when we talk about like people that's like, oh, I could do that. Like that's why I'm pretty sure, I can't be 100% sure, but I don't shit on anybody that would do comedy. Like, even if I don't, like you said, like, I might not think they're funny or they might not have it yet, but I would never shit on somebody that got the guts to get on stage.
Right.
It's that respect thing.
Yeah, because
it's like,
because I know it's not easy. And I'm sure whatever they're saying, it was funny when they thought of it. Now, maybe it didn't come out right or whatever, and that's definitely happened to me. Like, and I always credit, like, T-Bar was the first person to ever put me on a show, like, and it's not just an open mic. And I bombed. Because I did, like, my first joke, and then I forgot everything else.
Yep.
And I fucked around for, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, forget this, I'm out. And, but, you know, I always credit her with that, and, you know, I always try to, you know, support, and if I can, and I'll work with anybody, man, you know. Whether it's money or whatever.
What about famous comedians? Dead or alive? Any famous
comedians? Well, I just work with them, so I guess I can't. But Brian Simpson is dead or alive. Patrice O'Neal, no doubt. But Brian Simpson is one of the funniest comics I've ever seen, and because I was in the Motor City Comedy Festival, and I was on the show he did at Detroit House of Comedy. And it was hilarious. It was all stuff that I had never seen him do. Now, I don't know how long he'd been working on the stuff, but yeah, that's a funny dude. And Patrice O'Neal, like, I watch his special probably like once a month, like Elephant in the Room, and I listen to like all of the stuff that he had on there. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't got to agree with everything a person says or something, but it's just like the way people see the world, like the way certain people see the world and stuff like that, like that's what I relate to. And so like it's like maybe I don't like the comedy, but if you can get into a person's mind that way, then it's like that's what I deal with. Because it's like if you're dealing with somebody like that, you know they're always gonna kind of like shoot straight with you. Yeah. And that's the thing I respect the most.
Agreed.
You know, but like doing a real show or something like that with Brian Simpson as opposed to a showcase, and Dead or Alive, it'd be Patrice O'Neal.
Okay. Very, very cool. Yeah, speaking of dead comedians, Gallagher passed away recently. I know there are some conflicting thoughts on him, but you know you can't deny the fact that the man was doing his thing and he was famous for it. So you know, rest in peace, Gallagher. Watermelons run free. You're free now. You're free now. So, yes, watermelons run free. So, yeah. You know, God, didn't we? Who else passed away recently?
Judy Tenuta.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of comedians pass away, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's why I had to get in shape too, man. Because like the Patrice O'Neal thing is like, well, no, Judy, she was kind of older though, right?
Not yes, but no.
Like not like 80s, but
no. Yeah, it's one of those things where 15 years ago I'd have been like, well, you know, she was 67, like it's fine, and now I'm like, she's not that old. Yeah. That's not that old.
It's like, whoa, yeah. Because as we get older, we're like, no, not that
old. Right.
I don't remember exactly how old she was, but I don't think she was 70 yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is pretty young.
One thing that came to my mind, because we had mentioned you kind of getting a late start in comedy. Daryl, if you could Google this, I want to say Rodney Dangerfield didn't get his start till he was like in his 50s or 60s, honestly.
It was 50s.
Yeah, he was, man, I love me some Rodney Dangerfield. The way he could just fire things off like crazy.
I think Jim Gaffigan was kind of late too. And there's kind of, you know, but like I said, it's like, but I don't know what their path was. Like, I don't know if they were like, I'm going to just quit my job and do comedy full time, because that's, and I'm not at that point, but that's what I would love to do. Like, I would love to you know,
well, you're
quit
doing
my
everything
day
right.
job.
You're
and
doing
be
everything
like,
right.
Cause I like the first time I went to New York, I think I came back like after that 4 days, I came back with like 10 new minutes, just because I was like, oh man, I can try a bit at this open mic, jump on the train for 20 minutes, listen to it, okay, try it this way at this open mic, and by the end of the day or the end of the week, okay, I got 3 new minutes, and you do that with, you know, a few jokes every week, and it's like that's how, you know, like that's why, like, if I ever moved, it would definitely be to New York, just because of the opportunity to
that's why
do so many
the
things.
cliche is you go to New York to get better and you go to LA to get noticed.
Yeah. Yep. Makes a lot of sense.
That's how it works. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe stand-up to someone else is in some encapsulation of that, because you talk a lot about just how different stand-up, when you look at it as an art, and not to get all high and mighty about it, but when you look at it as an art, it is different than almost any other, because you physically cannot do it on your own. You can paint on your own, you can write a song on your own, all of those things, but there are so many things that are intrinsic to the audience response. And so if you don't have an outlet to actually do that, it doesn't matter. You can write 6 hours of material in your living room, and it doesn't matter. But doing exactly what you're saying, getting up in front of people saying this works, this doesn't, go into the next one, this works, this doesn't. That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Any the Ronnie Dangerfield? Any
Yeah, they weren't specific, but it was like his late 30s or early 40s.
Oh, really? Wow, I was way off.
Yeah.
I was way off.
his 50s.
Samsonite.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I thought, man, what the hell am I thinking of? I have no idea. I'm not thinking. That's the problem. Yeah, but well, yeah. Anything else that you want to ask Ryan, Elena? Anything you want to pick his brain about before we
No, I was
give
just
him
going
his...
to ask him what he's got coming up next.
What's next? Well, today is November 13th. So next week I'm going to Austin with Brett Solferino. I'm gonna do I got a couple of shows like lined up already. I don't know if they're shooting Kill Tony on Monday, but we might try to do that because we're going like Friday to Tuesday. And then like Genevieve's down there, Marcus is down there, so at least like hang out with them, maybe meet some people. I know I've met people from that area, but like a couple people I reached out to, I think they said they're out of town or something this week. But yeah, I'm just, you know, trying to go. I've never been to Texas, let alone, you know, Austin, and, you know, check out the scene and stuff
Definitely
like
good
that.
to go there when it's colder.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be a good week. I didn't realize like the days I got off too, I only got to work Wednesday. Like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the only day I work that week, so that's gonna be a nice little week. And then yeah, I got shows at Detroit House of Comedy, but anything like I post my stuff on Brown Ryan Comedy on Instagram and Ryan Brown on Facebook, stuff like that. So yeah, if y'all wanna check me out, see if my Handmaid's Tale joke ever works, then yeah, that's where to find me.
Yes, definitely check him out. Like I said, he is on fire right now, and you do not want to miss his shows. Elena, what do you have coming up in the on the pipeline?
Yeah, I've got some stuff in December, but you can find me at Gonzaleza, GONZALEEZA on Instagram, and Elena Gonzalez on Facebook.
Yes. I have a show at Rusted Crow Distillery in Dearborn Heights, December 3rd, 8 p.m. with Bill Bashart headlining with Tyler Nissen being the feature. Next weekend after that, December 10th at Bearded Lamb Brewing Company, Bill Bashart once again is headlining with Sam Rager as the feature. Amazing show right there. Then January 14th, back at Bearded Lamb Brewing Company with Cam Rowe headlining, Kate Brindle as the feature. I will be hosting all those shows, and hopefully the next recording I will have my February and my March shows for both of those venues. I don't have Instagram because I'm a lazy old man, but yeah, you can find me on Facebook. But of course, always like these videos. Please comment on them. My goal before the end of the year is to get to double-digit subscribers, not just 9.
One more.
Yeah, one more. Come on.
More.
Yes, a free
One more
cannoli
sub.
to the person who becomes our 10th subscriber. Thank you very much.
Ryan's gonna go do it.
Yeah,
right
I'm about
now.
to. Yeah,
He's
if I'm
gonna
not, I
cash
feel
in.
like I am subscribed already, but I might. Yeah.
Much
Cash in.
appreciated if you are.
Yeah.
So, but we will still give you the cannoli.
Yeah, man.
With
Come
that
back-
being,
then I come back in 6 months and I gained all the weight back.
yeah, it's your fault. It's that fucking
It
cannoli.
was like crack, man. As soon as I had one taste.
You son of a bitch.
I know. This week alone, Ryan and I had cake, and now we got cannoli. And,
Yep.
It's your birthday week, though. You gotta live it up, you know.
That's how they
Live it
get
up,
you,
man.
man. That's how they get you.
you.
Be in the basement eating Popeye chicken. Like, it's my birthday week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed, and then I'm gonna wake up at fucking 3 in the morning and hear a noise in the basement, and Ryan's gonna be eating
Right.
the leftovers down
Right,
here.
right.
Don't look at me.
Right.
It's my birthday month.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He's gonna go right under the sin wall, under the stairs. Had too much sugar. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, that's amazing. Yes. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, please like the video and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much. Take care, peeps.
Hey, peace.
And the time was now.